All right, here we go. So this is basically me experimenting with self-expression and getting used to hearing myself and seeing myself on video. So what I am going to be doing and cultivating consistency in my everyday, in my every week, in my every month, is to be posting a video once a week. Freaking out. Okay, so today's video, what I wanted to touch upon is how to tend to our negative thought patterns, and then in parentheses, our negative behaviors, because they are inherently linked. And a few weeks ago, I wrote a piece, sounds fancy. I wrote a blog post about, 4 steps on how to sort of rewire our negative thought patterns. So here we go. Step number 1 is simply becoming aware that there's something in our lives that doesn't quite feel right, that doesn't quite feel good. So maybe that's showing up as a constant feeling of, just being drained and not having any energy. Maybe that's showing up as, arguments and disagreements with other people in your life. Maybe that's showing up as a physical discomfort or pain. So step number 1, although it seems quite, simple, is basically just the ability to detect that, hey, there's something that keeps happening that I'm kind of tired of. I kind of would like to be different. And once we get to that step, almost immediately we can move on to step number 2, which is becoming aware of the pattern as it shows up in our experience. So, in my experience, as an example, was this thought pattern that there just never was enough time to get everything done in my day. And I started to notice that, I say this a lot. I just, there's not enough time. I don't have time. And I started to notice that when it would occur in the moment, that I started to get anxious. I started to sweat. My heart started to race a little bit. I had this feeling of dread that, oh my gosh, I just won't be able to get anything done. And I began to notice that it showed up pretty often, even on the weekend, when things are supposed to be relaxed and I'm supposed to be enjoying my time. But it was stopping me from that. It was causing me to try to do, 5 things at once, to get things over with quicker. But at the same time, it was not allowing me to really perform and do what I had to do with care and with joy. So that's basically step number 2, is really becoming aware of the pattern. How is it showing up in your actual experience? And once you can become familiar with that, step 3 is sort of stepping back and just observing the feelings, the thoughts, the actions, observing them. And also, envisioning, okay, well, if this is not what I want, what do I want? What is a more ideal way to be approaching the situation? And so for me, it was, I want to be able to get things done in a more calm way, get things done in a more efficient way, get things done with joy, enjoy, going through the motions and not feeling like I have to do everything at the same time, and then at the same time not actually be doing anything, which definitely was a recurring pattern in my experience. So once we can envision, how we ideally would like things to be, there then comes a moment in our experience where we can then choose differently, right? So I just posted something on Instagram that came up about awareness that Eckhart Tolle says is, with awareness, there comes choice. So when we can become aware of the situation and what's happening, we then have a choice to act differently, right? And if we've already envisioned what we prefer the situation to be, we can then go about choosing elements from that ideal situation. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. It takes practice, to cultivate that awareness, to catch it when it comes up, when it's unfolding right in front of us, to stop, observe, and then choose differently, and to choose what we prefer to happen in our experience. And so basically, if we can practice that and make that a regular habit, we can much more easily go about living a life that is, more aligned to our values and what we care about. So voila, that is my piece for today. Thanks for listening.